I just got out of the hot tub and I had a great realization while I was in there. And it comes to like when you're pursuing like these big dreams or you have multiple dreams, it can be a lot to deal with. There's a lot of things to do. And what you'll soon realize, depending on who you are and what your responsibilities are, you'll soon realize you can't do everything you think you have to do. Like, and there's times where you have to give one more focus than the other, one more time than the other. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I have all these things. I have this podcast I do. I have this YouTube channel. I have my speaking business. I have some other things I was about to say, but it ain't been announced yet. And I got all these things I'm doing, not to mention a family, and all these other things that just a man has in life. And sometimes you have to be able to trust your intuition of when to push certain things to the side. Like for me, the project I'm working on that I can't talk about yet is something that's probably going to be one of the biggest achievements of my life. And it takes a lot of focus and you know what I mean? And I had to push certain things to the side. But the reason I was able to do that is because I could feel my intuition saying, hey, not right now. That'll be taken care of after this. You see what I mean? Because if I was to still keep doing all the things I was doing, I wouldn't have the time to give this, what's the most important thing in my life right now, the time that it deserves. And I wouldn't be able to make it as great as it can be if I don't put that much energy to it. So sometimes you're going to have to be able to say, okay, and whether you're a religious person or spiritual, whatever, like for me, it's like, okay, God, what do I need to be working on right now? What does that work look like? And really sit in that silence. And for me, I just knew I had to kind of say, okay, no podcasting for a while. Nope, because that was taking up too much time, energy. And you'll see sometimes it's not even the work. It's just the thought of thinking you have to do the work that gives you anxiety and prevents you from doing the things that you're supposed to do. Whoa, that was a lot, but it made a lot of sense. And so sometimes with the podcast, it wasn't even the work of the podcast. It was thinking, man, you haven't done a podcast in 2 weeks, or man, you need to do this, or why hasn't you gotten these numbers? When you just say, I'm putting this to the side and any thoughts about it isn't relevant, I'm not even thinking of it at certain points of your life. Now, obviously, when I get to certain points, all these things will be working together. But when you're in the foundational phases of multiple things, it's super hard to do multiple foundational phases. And so for me, the main project I'm working on, I had to say, okay, we're not reaching out to schools for this season. I have a non-exclusive agreement with an agent. It's enough to make enough money where I'm okay. And I had to kind of debunk a lot of things I was dealing with. Like, for example, I didn't want to stop reaching out to schools because I was comparing myself to other speakers that were making this amount of money or getting this amount of gigs. And I had to ask myself, is that even the goal, to make a certain amount of money at this age? Or is the goal to do these things that we really want and set up the long game? You know what I mean? So I think it's super important to also reflect, not just listen to the intuition. And when I realized that, I was like, okay, I'm making enough money and it doesn't hurt. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just a pride thing. And so I was about to let my pride get in the way of what I needed to do right now for what I believe is a lifetime achievement I'm working on right now. Like, I can't wait to show y'all what I'm working on. And when I bring it out, it's literally going to be the greatest thing I've ever done. Like, it's one of those things so important that I'm going to finish it. And I'm be like, the rest of the stuff I do for the rest of my life ain't even better than that. But you'll see what I'm talking about soon. But it takes, in these times, in these moments of our lives, understanding when and where to put other things to the side and give it, that focus. Because I think sometimes we have too much pride, or we're so about like consistent, without realizing consistency and doing what we need to do is different at different times and different seasons. And for me in this season, I had to pivot. I had to say, this is to the side, not right now, so I could address this. And there's certain times where I can do all of them. There's certain times I can do half of them. There's certain times where I'm hiring somebody to do that for me. You have to know your season that you're in and not compare your current season to somebody else's 100th season. You know what I mean? This is your 5th season. You compare it to somebody's 100th. You got to always stay in your lane and understand, this is where I am right now in my life. And if you don't do that, then, okay, I'm thumbnail, try to get thumbnail. But you see what I'm saying? You aren't able to know the season that you're in, then you're not going to be able to really tackle what you need to get to that other stuff that you're thinking about. So for me to get back to my podcast with the level of energy and just stories and experience, I have to focus on what's right now, what I know I need to focus on right now. And I think all the time we're focusing and we're having this pride on too much stuff. Simplify things. Understand what needs its attention right now, what deserves your attention right now, and detach yourself from the results a little bit and just indulge yourself in the process and enjoy it. And you often find things just pop up. Like for me, like God was just telling me, like, no reaching out to schools right now for a little while. And while I detached myself from that, and I was still speaking to schools, but I wasn't reaching out, new technologies popped up that makes my reaching out so much more like simple. You know what I'm saying? Like so much thumbnail batching, but so much simpler. So much simpler. So now when I do it, when I get back started again, it's gonna be so easy, or at least not as hard as before. And I think life would just tell me, hey, you might as well take this break right now too, because it's like it's gonna be easier and you'll make enough money. Like, don't worry about it, you know? You gotta be able to trust what you don't know. A quote I always like to use since I thought of it is, don't judge the present when you don't understand the future. So sometimes when you feel your intuition telling you, hey, right now isn't the time for that, you're like, why? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, you don't know the future. Your intuition kind of does. I think I got to end the video on that. Like, comment, subscribe. I have fun talking to y'all. See y'all in the next one. Peace.